Hi guys, today we will be doing one player from every nation at this World Cup that you should be watching. So if you do enjoy this kind of video, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. This video will be very lengthy, to be fair guys, and I'm not going to lie about that. Finding one player from 48 nations, it's not the easiest thing you can do in this world, but it's not the hardest as well. So what I've done is I've picked out various players from all 48 nations. It can be defenders, it can be midfielders, can be goalkeepers, it can be strikers. I actually don't think there is a goalie, but what I'll be doing is I'll be going in the group order. So, for example, Group A is Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, and Czech Republic, and that's the order I'll be doing it in. So we'll start off with Mexico, and I've picked a wee lad from Mexico called Mateo Chavez. He plays for AZ Alkmaar. He's a left back. He's 22. He's got 1 goal, 2 assists this season, which is, for the amount of games he's played, he's not been the starting left back the whole season. He's been up and down. He moved from a club in Mexico to AZ Alkmaar. AZ Alkmaar is that kind of club. They're good at picking up players, and what they've done here is they've picked up a player who's actually very good at pressing. For what I've seen him, he's very good at pressing. What I'll do throughout the video, I'll put some clips for some players because obviously it's very hard for some of them, but he responds well to not starting. Like, I've watched training videos of this guy and he looks very energetic. He looks like a good guy to have around the kind of training room. A young player who's eager to learn and do stuff like that. And what else is exceptional actually is his recovery speed. What I've seen, so when the guy was defending or he's picked up the ball very quickly when he's just lost it, he goes then up the park and he's so good at bombing down the left hand side and cutting. He's at some of his shots of, I think he scored the 1 goal he did score in a friendly. He had it with his right foot, so it shows that he's that kind of player that can do kind of both. But that's what my pick for Mexico is. And let's move on to South Africa. So we move on to South Africa, and I've decided to go with, by the way, if I'm getting pronunciations wrong, sorry about that. So South Africa, there's not really much to go by. They're quite an interesting nation when it comes to players. But one I did go for was Teboho Mokoena. He plays for Mamelodi Sundowns. I think it's in the African leagues as well. He's age 29, he's a CDM originally. He's actually got 7 goals and 2 assists this season. What I've found, like, South Africa was one of the nations, I always knew it was going to be tough to find players. And I found this guy, and I just searched up South Africa, and I found this guy, and he's got a hell of a good strike on him. See some of his long shots. Honestly guys, if you go and look him up, he has got a really good long shot. But he actually nearly got his country kicked out of the World Cup. Maybe not him specifically. So he had 2 yellow cards over 2 games, and that usually would result in a suspension, and they fielded him when he was meant to be ineligible, and thankfully they never got caught. They never got fined for it or anything like that, because they might have not been in Group A in the first place. But let's move on to South Korea. South Korea player, obviously you can go for the obvious. Son, his last World Cup, you could have went for O, who had done good at Genk, went to Besiktas, and he's not been that great. But I decided to go with Kang In Lee. Kang In Lee is at PSG, and he's got 10 goals and 10 assists this season with his international team and PSG itself. And what I figured watching him, when I was watching wee clips of him, because I knew he was a good player when PSG signed him from the Spanish league, and I think it was Villarreal, or it was was one of them kind of clubs. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was very good with the ball at his feet. See, it's just the wee dart and runs he makes. He's quite quick at picking up space as well, and he's got a very low, powerful shot, so he can hit it across the ground or across goal, not putting much height on it, and that's the shots that kill goalkeepers. Honestly, goalkeepers will tell you they hate low shots across goal because it means they need to leap to get it. And he's a very trickster player. Do you know what? He does remind me of a kind of just a spontaneous player. Do you know what? He knows what he's doing in his mind before even the ball gets to him, and he can honestly, in Ligue 1, he's done so good at just dribbling past so many players, and he is your modern day winger, and even though he's got Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Doué, Barcola in front of him, he still is eager to get in that starting lineup. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went and done a good World Cup here, he would move away from PSG just to get more game time, possibly in the Premier League or such. But we will now move on to Czech Republic. So, this Czech Republic obviously have so many good players, and they've had so many good players coming through in the last couple of years, but one I did find was Pavel Sulk. He plays for Lyon, and he's got 16 goals and 9 assists this season, and he's only 25. He's a striker, kind of centre forward kind of player. He kind of can play both. He originally was a cam, they've moved him up to striker, and he's just banging the goals in. He's quite a unique striker actually, because usually when you're tall, you're not got that kind of speed. He has got that speed. It's not like killing speed, but it's enough to get past the defenders in pretty much situations. His shot power is immense, by the way. See this goal against Ireland? I'll put it on screen right now. It is superb, honestly. It's one of the goals you just clap. But under pressure, most of these goals I've seen is one-on-ones, and he's just calm and composed. He scores pretty much every one-on-one I've seen clips of, but obviously I don't watch Lyon games, so I'm not able, but I think it will be a big impact in this group, and Czech Republic need that because they're maybe not the favourites in this group at all, probably Mexico, but they just need that bit of oomph, and I think they've got that striker position. Group B consists of Canada, Bosnia, Qatar and Switzerland. So first we're going to go and start with Canada. Canada obviously being a host nation as well. Group B is a host nation. And Canada is one of the nations you can pick a couple. But I've picked Ismail A. Kone from Sassuolo in Italy. He plays in midfield. He's 23. He's got 6 goals and 0 assists this season. Obviously, as a midfielder, you're not always going to get assists, but this guy has got a crazy long shot. His shots are powerful with both feet, and so is his passing. He can his passing range is very, very good, and he's got that kind of body type. He's really good in tight spaces. So say there was 3 players, we'll go with Dzeko and 2 other Bosnian players. He would somehow find a way out, and he's quite calm in the ball as well. So I think there was quite a few Canadian players to pick from, but for me, he's definitely got the edge here. Next player I'll do is Izmir Bakirtarevic. He plays for PSV. He's only 21, which is really good for age as well, because Bosnia are going with maybe an older squad than some, but and unrecognisable as well, but they'll go with young talent as well. Izmir obviously plays for PSV in the Dutch Eredivisie, and he's actually scored the penalty to take Bosnia to the World Cup, and he had the cheek to do it against Donnarumma, one of the best goalies in the world. And he's actually his playing style is quite good. He's the modern day winger that is very good at cutting inside with his right foot and then shoot with his left, and he does that very well. And he's PSV are one of the clubs that pick up young talent, sell them on. They've done it with Malik Tillman, they've done it with Bakayoko, they've done it with so many players, and I think this is another one to show, and I think he'll do very well at the World Cup, and I'll hopefully put some promising performances for the Bosnia, and I'm not even saying the whole name because I can't, but Bosnia he'll be one of their stars at the World Cup. And we move on to Qatar now. Move on to the Qatari star, and it's Akram Afif. Everybody will know Qatar went to the last World Cup as heavy underdog hosts. They're not known for their footballing ability, and nobody really knew if they were good or bad, but people just assumed they were bad. But one player that did stand out was Akram Afif, and he has done that this season at Al Sadd as well in the Qatari Pro League, Stars League actually it's called, and he's a left winger. He's 29. This will probably be maybe his second last World Cup. It might even be his last, depending on if Qatar can qualify again. But they've put a lot of investment into that, and it's evident. This guy's got 23 goals and 27 assists, which is crazy. We all remember his fast pace, fast dribbling, fast feet. He was really good with his feet, and his goal record just tells you something else. His technique, his finishing for a winger in particular, but he's too the solid in that Qatari team, and they did put on a show last time. Obviously, they probably didn't do what they were wanting to do, but they'll try and show that at this World Cup. As I predicted, I don't think they'll do that, but I think he could be a real star in their team. The next player we will be doing is from Switzerland, and he plays for Freiburg, but I don't think he'll be there for much longer. He is a really, really good player, guys. He's called Johan Manzambi. He plays, as I said, he plays for Freiburg. This season he's got 10 goals, 9 assists. He's age only 20. And what I've picked up for this guy, obviously Freiburg were very easy to find this season because they were in the Europa League and they got all the way until the final hurdle and they fell to a very good team in Aston Villa under Unai Emery. But this guy, what he's really good at in particular is actually very interesting. He's good at picking up good positions. What I've seen is his space he finds, he reads the game so well for being so young. He'll go pick up a position 10 seconds before the pass is actually available, and I think that's a very important trait in being a midfielder. A lot of young players don't learn that, even when they go through academies. He's very skillful, he's very good at getting out of tight situations. He's so good in and around the midfield. He makes the Freiburg midfield click, and as I said, he's heavily linked with clubs like Manchester United who are looking for midfielders. He's linked with the Premier League. He might even be a good fit for Areola at Liverpool, but we'll have to find out. But we'll move on to Group C that contains Brazil and the mighty Scotland. So we'll start off with Brazil, and I think this one was hard because I originally was going to pick Cunha, but it doesn't look like he's going to be starting for Brazil that much, but I've decided to go with Endrick. And this was basically off the friendly against Egypt. On it, I watched them second half. He's unbelievable. He's honestly, I did see him at Real Madrid, but he's not been able to kick on. He's moved to Lyon and he's got 9 goals and 9 assists. He's only 19, so he's got perfect amount of time to develop. Honestly, he reminds me of R9. Not saying he's as good as him because that's too far-fetched, but he does remind me of the way he plays as striker. It's not really a striker, he knows how to dribble. Typical Brazilian striker, that is the best. His speed is exceptional. It doesn't look like he's going to beat people, but it just does it. He bursts of pace, and he's so good at it, and he's just so fun to watch. I think Brazil is just such a footballing nation that players that come, like your Neymar, your Rafinhas, they come around, and you're just so excited to watch them, and I think that Endrick is another example of that. But he is so good, guys. And we'll know this interesting player, and it's Bilal El Khanous. So obviously he was at Stuttgart the whole of last season. He was on loan for Leicester. He was too good for the Championship, guys. Way too good. And because we are Scottish, Celtic obviously drew Stuttgart. So it was as soon as I seen Morocco, I was like, El Khanous. I actually love this guy. Since moving to Germany, he's went to a completely new level. He's got 11 goals and 9 assists this season. He's only 22, so I remember him at Leicester in Premier League. It's probably the bright spot for Leicester, if there was any. His dribbling is so crazy, close to his feet. He's just so good at doing that. And his goals this year, honestly, I know he's scoring goals, but the goals he's scoring is absolutely per Pixar, man. Honestly, see the way the guy can curve the ball round and put it just top bins, and he's like so calm when he's doing his celebration. I'm like, mate, you've just scored a goal at you're like you've just scored against an amateur team. Like, he's so calm and composed, he's humble, and I think that's good when you're an attacker because you know what you're doing, you're focused on you, and I think that's the good way about it. But we move on to Haiti. And it's Wilson Isidore. I think we all know him. He plays for Sunderland. He's quite tall and he's a striker, and obviously what he's done for Sunderland, even in the Championship, he was their star player in the Championship. Obviously in the Premier League they've made signings, but he's still got that prowess about him, and he's so pacey, he's so energetic. Because he's obviously his height, he's powerful in the air. He's been such a addition for Sunderland in the Premier League. And he, as I said, in the Championship, he was really good as well. But obviously, he was always seen as French, but he chose to go to Haiti. That was just quite a thing with the Haiti squad, because I'm pretty sure there was a French colony. So, but he definitely will be the star players in the friendlies leading up to the Scotland game. They have looked really good, and that literally, I think he's a great pick, and I think he will do quite well for Haiti against the 3 games against Scotland, Morocco and Brazil. But that puts us right into Scotland, who I think I could have picked Finlay Curtis, I could have picked Doe, I could have picked McTominay, I could have picked Andy Robertson. I could have picked anybody in the Scotland squad because I'm Scottish, so I'm going to have a tiny bit biased. But one player I did pick, because I think he's made such a influence in Stevie Clarke's style of play, is Gannon Doak. Ben Gannon Doak. Remember the name. I remember when I was younger, I'm 19 right now, I used to see clips of this guy. He was in Celtic's academy, and I think he moved when he was like 15. He moved to Liverpool, and you were seeing clips every week from Rising Ballers. I think everybody will know who they are. And he was so good. And when he got called up to the Scotland squad initially, you seen that kind of reaction of, why is this young guy got called up to Scotland? But what he's done under Clarke, he's gave us so much width, and he got that assist for that McTominay goal. He went off injured in that game, but fans will forever appreciate the difference he made in those games to get us qualified, because he has made such a difference. And I think going into this World Cup, he's got so much to prove. And like friendly against Bolivia, he was ripping everybody apart, and I think that's why he will be Scotland's player to watch. But we'll move on to Group D now. D consists of the United States of America, Paraguay, Australia and Turkey. So obviously the player that I've went with is Malik Tillman for the USA. Obviously we in Scotland obviously remember him when he went on loan to Rangers. Plays for Leverkusen now. He's only 24. He's done quite well since leaving Rangers. He went to PSV on loan, signed him for the match late, and then he went to Bayer Leverkusen, and he's done quite well. Got 8 goals, 2 assists this season. I remember him for his close body dribbling. Honestly, he was superb. I remember the goal against Partick Thistle that was quite controversial. He just dribbled through the whole team, and he done that weekly in the SPFL, and everybody knew it. Even his goal against Motherwell, everybody was like, who the fuck came into our league? But he didn't do that well in the big games over here, but he's done quite well in the big games over in Leverkusen and PSV because he's grew as a player, and his aerial threat is immense. Like, honestly, the guy has so much power as an athlete. He's definitely built as an athlete. He's been trained up at Bayern, right? He's got a powerful finish on him, and I think that's why I've picked him for America. And we move on to Paraguay. For Paraguay, I've picked Diego Gomez. He's a centre mid for Brighton. A lot of Premier League people will know him because his goal he scored against Nottingham Forest. He's done quite well. He's got 12 goals and 2 assists this season. What I've picked up for watching this guy, he's very, very ambitious. Like, he goes for the long shots. Like, his goal against Nottingham Forest, he hits across just volleys it across goal. You're like, who the fuck has the ambition to go for that? And he's done it quite well, and his technique as well. Like, even as I said, just volley, and he's very good at picking up space and attacking areas. He is a centre mid, but he does go in the right sometimes for Brighton, depending on the Brighton manager's formation, and it does that for Paraguay. He mainly plays in midfield for Paraguay, so that's why I put him in midfield. But honestly, he's really, really good, and I think people should watch him out in this group, especially because I don't think there's a clear favourite in this group. You obviously see Turkey and USA, but I don't think there's a real favourite in this group. And the next player I go into is Australian, and the player I go into is Jordan Boss. He plays for Feyenoord in the Dutch Eredivisie, and you'll have a feeling that there's a lot of Eredivisie players here, and I've just realised that when I got to the end of it today. So he's a left back, he's 23, he's got 4 goals and 11 assists. He's honestly, you should watch out if you're a Premier League fan. He's one of those players he's up and coming in European leagues. He's one of them. He's probably one of the best ones coming up. He's very successful when he's taking on people. He's got a high recovery rate percentage. He's very good at picking the balls up. As I said, for the Mexican guy, he's really, really good at recovering the ball and creating something out of it. He'll pick it up, bomb down the wing, and most likely create something for Feyenoord, because Feyenoord's one of the big teams in the Dutch league, so they're able to do that. And the final team I go into is Turkey. We move on to Turkey, and it's a Fenerbahce player. Galatasaray fans, Besiktas fans might not like me saying this, but it's Karim Atatürkoğlu. I've probably butchered that, but you'll understand who I'm trying to say. And this guy he's 27, he's left winger, can play in the right, can play in the middle. He's a unique kind of winger actually, because he's got 19 goals and 10 assists in the Turkish league as well as for Turkey this season. His long shots are crazy. See some of his finesse shots from outside the box. He's just literally guaranteed to score when he hits it. He's really good at that. You've also got his amazing technique. As I said, he's just got that kind of style of hitting the ball, which is very, very, very good. And we've also got, he's very good at changing direction. He'll literally dribble, cut inside quick, and cut inside again and get past the defender, and he's very good at that. That's one of his main traits that I've noticed when trying to analyse him. And the next nation we're going to move on to is Germany, and that's in Group E. Germany, I've picked Angelo Stiller. Obviously, the CDM plays for Stuttgart. People will know him because he is one of them up-and-coming CDMs. He's been linked with Man United heavily, Real Madrid. He's touted as the next Toni Kroos, which is big shoes to fill. I think Toni Kroos would say that himself. But what I've noticed about this guy, he's got 2 goals and 10 assists this season. As I said, he's touted as next Toni Kroos. His tactical knowledge of the game, his understanding of what to do in certain situations is immense. Honestly, I've never seen a player so educated since Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric, he's kind of got that CDM feeling of he knows what he's going to do, maybe 5 seconds before he gets the ball. He scans like crazy, which is always a good sign for a midfielder because that means they care. His range of passing is superb. I've seen him hit balls from just before the halfway line and behind just for your striker, and his pass completion rate for that kind of pass is actually really, really high, and I think that's why I've picked him for Germany. The next nation I'll be going to is Curacao. Curacao is one of the nations it's just really hard to pick. I do not know how to pick, and one I have picked is Nathan Chong. Obviously, I remember him when he was at Man United and he was known as Dutch, but Curacao is actually a Dutch colony if you don't know that already, and actually 10 of the players in the starting lineup are from the Netherlands, but they've obviously not been good enough to play for the Netherlands, hence why they play for Curacao. But Chong, in fact, was born there, so he knows how it feels to be from there and grow up there. I think he moved to the Netherlands when he was quite young, but what I've noticed, Scotland obviously played them the hard week. He is a very powerful runner. He's very good at getting into those positions and behind. And yeah, there's not much to say about him. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist for Sheffield United. He's playing in the Championship. He's maybe not got to the potential he wanted, but he's probably farly in front of most other Curacao players, and that's why I've chose to pick him. And the next nation we move on to is Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast was quite easy to pick in my opinion. I picked Yan Diamonde, right? So left winger, 19, RB Leipzig, 10 assists, 16 goals. He's honestly one of the best wingers I've seen up and coming, and it's actually a fact that he was rejected by many clubs on trials, one of them being Rangers, so Rangers missed out on a very good player there, but at Leipzig this season he's picked up really, really good, and he's got well-deserved interest from clubs like Liverpool, PSG, Real Madrid, and all clubs, big clubs like that. What kind of player he is? He's very, very fast with the ball at his feet. His dribbling is so unpredictable. He is one of the players. It reminds me of a Doku. He just has that so much unpredictability that you don't actually know what he's doing yourself. It excites the playing ground so much. And I think Ivory Coast have got a gem on their hands here. And I think it will be so crucial to what they do at this World Cup. And we move on to Ecuador actually, and I've picked out an Arsenal defender, and you'll know who I'm talking about. It's Hikapi. Obviously, he's done quite well this season. He was known as a centre back that could play left back. So when I saw that in FIFA, I'm like, he's an Arteta signing all over. You know what I mean? Like, you just know he's an Arteta signing, and he's done quite well. He's only got a few assists. But it's not the assists, it's the defending. He's been a rock solid defender in that Arsenal backline, and what he's done for Arteta is just completely gobsmacking. And then he's just added to the clean sheets regularly. He was so, especially in the Champions League run, it was their starting left back. Like, he was so good at defending, it was unbelievable. Obviously, Timber kind of came, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Timber came in as a left back at Arsenal, but he's happy, he's came in and he's took that position for himself, and he's done very well at that, and I think he will be so influential if Ecuador do get out of this group. Obviously, they had not a too bad World Cup last time round, but they've got so many better players than they did the last Qatar World Cup. But so in Group F, which contains the Netherlands, Japan, Sweden and Tunisia, we have started off with the Netherlands, the Dutch, the mighty Dutch, and we've went with Crystal Somerville. Obviously, it's got a longer name to that, but I don't want to mispronounce it. So, he's been at West Ham for this season. I remember him predominantly at Leeds United when he was one of the players, but he was the best player at Leeds, I think, and personally, in my personal opinion. In a very dull season at West Ham, he's made them spark. Obviously, he went down with West Ham. I think he's one of the players. He's definitely getting a move. He's got 7 goals and 5 assists this season. As I said, he was one of the players that I watched when I watched West Ham, as well as Bowen and the guy up front. I can't remember what his name was. He was what a bright spark, and his ball control speaks for itself. He was a great finisher. And as I said, he was a spark for West Ham in a bad season. I think that was very important to get that on board, because you can't just have somebody who's crap. You know what I mean? So I put in Somerville. There could have been a couple of other mentions, but some of them are missing the World Cup due to injury, such as Timber. So the next team we'll move on to is Japan. So for Japan, I've went for Ayase Yuda. He plays for Feyenoord again, and as I said, we've got a couple of Feyenoords in the chat, and he's got 28 goals and 2 assists at age 27, and I don't mean this in a crazy way, but he's honestly one of the all these 48 players, he's one of the most exciting I've seen in the striker position. He's incredible. He's actually incredible at every method of goal scoring. He's so good. His heading ability, for being decently tall, his heading ability is obviously going to be good. His strength to bully defenders. See the amount of times I've watched clips of him and he's just bullied off the defender like it was nothing. Like, I think Japan, they're trained athletes. Honestly, they're so good at being an athlete, and I think this guy is a prime example of this. And I think for Japan, you need to watch out for this guy to score goals at the World Cup, and I think Japan, in my predictions, will do quite well at this World Cup, and that's why I have picked him in particular. And we now move on to Sweden. Obviously, Sweden, there's so much to choose from. You had Nygren, you had... one I've went for is Gustav Lagerbielke. Celtic fans will remember him. He didn't really get much of a chance. He didn't really, when he played, it didn't look he was like overly bad, but it didn't look like he was overly good. I remember him in the old firms. He was quite good against Rangers, and he did start for a couple of games, but he never got a cemented place in the team. But since then, he's moved to Sporting Braga. So he's got 4 goals this season. He's 26. He's a really good centre back. He is really good at winning the ball back without committing the foul, because obviously a lot of players will win the ball back at the foul. He's really good at getting in behind, and he's really good at that scoop tackle, at just winning the ball back and staying on his feet while he's at it. He has, as I said, he's been a standout for Braga this season. They went quite far in the Europa League, and he's been a menace in the air. Honestly, his aerial presence in this Braga team was quite good, and that's why, I seen his heat and I was like, he's jumping too high, man. He's gonna have to be my pick. But in all seriousness, he's definitely got a well-deserved Sweden call-up, and I think he will be one to surprise many at one of the it could get a move after the World Cup. But we'll move on to Tunisia now. For Tunisia, we went for Celtic's Sebastian Tenetti. So this season under Martin O'Neill, I'm not even joking, as much as you might have a SPFL bias, this is the one that stood out to me for Tunisia because what he's done for Celtic this season as a sub. If he can keep it for a consistent 90 minutes, I think it would be a 100%. This one was just unsure, but Tenetti has scored 5 goals this season in 3 assists. He plays on the left and he plays on the right. He's quite young as well, so he's got that ability to produce something, and I think he will do that with Tunisia. And he's just generally a good player. I think for what I've seen this season, he's very good, and he's very good at both feet. And the one I do remember is against Auchinleck Talbot, I think it was, and he cuts inside, and it's a long shot, and it's a finish shot for kind of on the edge of the box, and it's even though it's against a lesser team, it's still a really good goal. You just need to hold your hands up. But that's Tunisia, and we will now move on to Group G. So for Belgium, in Group G, we actually have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. So quite a range of nations there. It's quite an evenly spread group, apart from Belgium, obviously. But I've chosen Nico Raskin. You might be like, oh, he's picked another SPFL player, but that's not the point here. When I've watched Nico Raskin for Belgium, there's a reason he gets picked over Arne Engels. Obviously, the Belgian manager prefers him, but it's not just that. It's just what he brings to that team. Like, he's decently young. He's only 25. I mean, he's in his prime. He's nearing his prime. So I think Rangers would prefer if he had a good World Cup as well, because it can boost his value. Even his contract kind of run down, but he's got 9 goals and 9 assists this season. He's one of the Rangers players that stands out to you as soon as and he's been like that since he came. And obviously he has an ambition for playing for Chelsea one day. Obviously, I'm assuming his idol's Eden Hazard, but he's a great box-to-box midfielder. He's always on it, and I've liked that about him. He's one of them. He's just always there. Like, he's always running. You always see him running when you watch Rangers games. He has a high interception rate. Like, honestly, this guy is really good at picking up the ball and intercepting passes for our team. His ball recovery rate's good. He's always in the big games. He's always one of the standout players. And he's actually, like, if you look at corners, he's scored and his goals for Rangers, a lot of his goals come from corner, and he's quite a small player. He's quite a small lad, so he's quite impressive in the air. And yeah, that's my pick for Belgium. So for Egypt, obviously the obvious one would have been Mo Salah for a lot of people, but for me, I thought I'd go for something a bit different, and it's going to be the striker / left winger and Omar Marmoush. Obviously he's been the backup to Haaland, and he's not played as much this season as he did when he came in, but he's still ranked up 12 goals and 3 assists. And with that, like, if you look at his goals, he's got so much power in his long shots, and his ability to shoot from the long range is very impressive. His great agility, honestly, his ability to just turn around and shoot, like, that's what strikers are. And he's a unique kind of striker. He's a modern day striker. Is very good with the ball at his feet, and he's not just a goal scorer. That's why I say he's kind of unique. That's why he's good at on the left. He's very good at running in behind. His pace helps him a lot, and I don't think he'll lose his pace, the type of player he is, until he's older. But He's really good at making the balls in behind, to collect the balls in behind, and that's why I picked him for Egypt. We go to Iran here. The striker, which is Mehdi Taremi, age 33 for Olympiacos. He's got 20 goals and 7 assists this season at, I think it's Olympiacos. Yeah, it's Olympiacos. And he's great. One thing I do like about him, he's great at different types of shots. Like, I remember his overhead kick in the Champions League. He's got a great record for Iran, even though there's a lot of controversy and like just so much political stuff around Iran this tournament. I'm not going to go anywhere near that, so don't think I am. But he's done so good for Iran. He's a good out-and-out striker, and that's the best way you could describe the guy. He's the best Iranian player there's been in for a while. Probably, maybe even arguably the best ever. He's probably the best I know anyway in my lifetime, but that's why I picked him for Iran. Guys, we've got another SPFL player for New Zealand, and it's Elijah Just. My decision for this is he's got 8 goals and 8 assists this season, but that's not. Jens Berthel Askew turned this guy into an absolute menace. This guy just could control games with every time he touched the ball. It was like, he's just so slick in the ball. He's one of the players, honestly, Messi's one of the players I grew up watching. I loved him. I'm not saying this guy's like Messi. I'm just saying the way he plays football is just so fun to watch. It's just, he has that carefree attitude of, I know what I'm doing here, and he just plays his own game, and doesn't matter on the opponent, he'll play his own game. He has that kind of free role, and hopefully he's great ball control with that. And as I said, he was one of Motherwell's standout players, and he's great at finding space, and he's one of the players I think he could help New Zealand possibly get out this group and finish maybe even 3rd place. But that's my Group G, and we will now move on to Group H. Obviously, Group H consists of Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. But Spain is the easiest one I've done. Probably will be the second easiest, maybe even the easiest. As I said, it's Lamine Yamal, best player in the world for me, and Flick has generally made him into an absolute beast, and he just does messy things, and that's the best way I can describe it. He came for La Masia, he's just tearing it up every week. I mean, I remember every time I see his goals, I'm like, it just reminds me of Messi. It does remind me of Messi. And I remember his goal against Inter Milan last year. He just cuts in, cuts out, cuts it. Honestly, you do feel like you're watching Messi, but I think it's the easiest pick by far, and we now move on to Cabo Verde. What I've done for Cabo Verde is Sidney Lopez Cabral. So his position's a left back. His age is 23 and he plays for Benfica. And he's got 8 goals this season and 6 assists. And he's actually, for a left back, he's good with both feet. So he's that kind of unique left back. He's fucking amazing at set pieces. And he's good at bombing down the wings. He's, as I said, unique in that sense. And even though when I looked him up, I didn't see any free kick goals. He's just good at set pieces. I've seen him with corners and free kicks. He gets them in target pretty much every time. He's quite good at that. And he's just a unique kind of style of fullback to obviously now they're kind of playing into midfield. He's traditional, but he's modern at the same time, so I think that's what I like about him. But we'll now move on to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, we've got another fullback, and it's right back Saud Abdul Mohamed. And he's 26, plays for Lens, he's got 4 goals and 8 assists. What I found was he's quite unique. He's a right back, can play right mid as well. He's very good at dribbling. He's very good at finding players in the box. His crossing ability is absolutely exceptional. So you probably will see that for when you watch Saudi Arabia. at the World Cup. He's good at holding up the ball down the line. So if, say, this player's pressing him, he's quite good at finding situations out. And obviously with his passing ability, he's quite good at the 1-2s. Goes on, gets out that situation, 1-2, 1-2, and bang, he's passed him and he's got Lens in a good position. He was on loan, I think he was on loan from Roma, but now he's completed a permanent transfer. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I might be wrong, but we now move on to Uruguay. I feel like I'm just rating fullbacks for this group, apart from Yamal, but Maxi Araujo is what I've picked for Uruguay. Position is left back. He plays for Sporting. He's aged 26, so he's in that kind of prime age. He's got 7 goals and 6 assists, so usually he's a fullback and he's got 6 assists, but 7 goals, Jesus, Adam. And what I've done is I've came to the conclusion he turns up in the big games. The Bodo Glimt game especially, if you go and watch the highlights to when Sporting came back against him, he was the player that turned it around. You've also got that he has that edge when it comes to the pace. So he's bombing it. Honestly, he is really, really fast. I've saw it. There's pace and then there's absolute pace, and he's passionate. He loves playing football, and I think that's important when you're picking one of these players. You don't want to just pick a generic player who's just boring, but this guy is honestly exciting, and every time I've watched him, I've seen something different to when I've seen other kind of left backs. But he's done very well at Sporting. I think he's going into this World Cup with definitely pride at his central of agenda. But we now move on to Group I. So Group I consists of France, Senegal, Iraq and Norway. And I'm just going to go straight into it. France, we've got Olise, Michael Olise. So he's 24, plays for Bayern Munich. We know who he is. He's got 26 goals and 32 assists. That is absolutely, that's better stats than Lamine Yamal. And he's absolutely transformed under company with Harry Kane and Diaz. His composure is unreal. See, like even the goal against Real Madrid, just scored in the last minute. The guy's calm he's just calm. I'm like, what? And that just puts me on his point. His long shots are crazy, and his ability to find people is just. I think out of the players in the world, like Kvaratskhelia, Olise, and Lamine Yamal are the best players in the world, in my opinion. Like generally, I think the wingers, maybe even wingers, best wingers in the world, but that's why I put Olise in the mix. And we now move on to Senegal. For Senegal, I have picked Iliman Ndiaye. So the guy is 26 years old. His position is right wing. He can also play on the left. He's quite good with both feet. He's got 8 goals and 5 assists. So by the way, I'm sorry if I'm just looking at my screen here. But he's done really well. He's been Everton's best player. He's getting linked with all the big clubs around Europe. And he has that street baller vibe about him. He grew up in France, but generally when you watch him, it's just his composure and his skill, just the way he caresses the ball. He has such like a street baller, and it's the best way to put him in. Like one of his main actions that I see is when he uses both feet. He'll dummy the guy to go that way, and then he'll go that way. And he does it. He done it to Van de Ven, one of the fastest centre backs in the Premier League, probably the fastest actually. And he's done it to so many centre backs. Every one of his goals, you can see he does it, and people have not picked it up. So scouts, sign me up because I've seen it, and I'm half blind. So, but we move on to Iraq now. Iraq was actually quite a hard one, and what I've done is I've chose Zidane Iqbal. He currently plays for Utrecht under 21s. He actually isn't in the first team, but he's got 1 assist and 0 goals this season. Obviously, it's not the most overwhelming stat, but he's good at winning the ball in transition. Like, I've seen him defending midfield, attacking when I looked him up, and he's unbelievable at picking it up and then dribbling through the team and then putting a wee ball in behind. He is unbelievable at that. He did grow up in the Manchester United academy. He did grow up in Manchester, but he chose to go to play for Iraq, and I think he will do very well at this World Cup, guys. And we now move on to Norway. So for Norway, I've picked one that might not start all the games, but it definitely will have a big impact. I think Norway's attack this tournament will be very good, and I've put them as my underdogs as well. But I've went for Jens Petter Hug. I think I've said that right, and he's a left winger, can also play cam, striker, the rest of them. But he's age 26, plays for Bodo Glimt, and you'll remember him for scoring against Manchester City, and he scored in quite all the big games. Got 8 goals, 9 assists this season. He's revived his career at Bodo Glimt. He started off a couple of years ago. He was at AC Milan, not getting much game time. Went back to Bodo, and he's been unbelievable this season in the Champions League campaign. As I said, he has an amazing right foot shot. See if he just edged the box, he's beaten any goal in the world, trust me. And that's why I've picked him for Norway. But we now move on to Group J. So for Argentina, I've went for Nico Bats. I think a lot of people would have maybe expected me to go Alvarez, but nah, we're different around here. So he plays for Como, he's under Cesc Fabregas. He's been amazing. He's got 13 goals and 8 assists. Honestly, if you watch clips of this guy, you'll fall in love. He has that effect on people. His ability to absolutely destroy players is unbelievable. His dribbling is literally 99. If you were to put him on a FIFA card, just put 99 dribbling. This guy can get in a way for anybody, and guarantee you put 1,000 players in front of him, he gets past like 999. So he's definitely Argentina's next up-and-coming star. He started off at Real Madrid, went to Como, and he's just made himself his own kind of guy. His creative mind is, don't know, there's something with the Spanish Argentinian brain that it's just gives you good players. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. But that's my pick for Argentina. I'll possibly put some clips through the video of some of these players, but let's move on to Algeria. There's another player I've went for is Anis Hajid Moussa. The right winger for Feyenoord has got 14 goals this season and 7 assists. Honestly, this guy's passing ability as a winger is amazing. He's very left-footed. Obviously, that's the modern type of winger. If you're on the right, you'll be left-footed. If you're on the left, you'll be right-footed. And he's just that kind of player. He's so good at finding space for other players, finding space for himself. His dribbling, his feints, both ways are superb. And that's why I picked him for Algeria. Because he's young as well, he has that ability to he is so fast, and he has a quick mind. When I've watched him for Feyenoord, he's had that ability to change games completely. But that's my pick for Algeria, and we'll now do Austria. So for Austria, I've decided to pick 28-year-old RB Leipzig midfielder. He's actually leaving RB Leipzig in the summer, but Javier Schlanger, he's got 3 goals and 1 assist this season. Honestly, this guy I've heard about him so much because he's always been linked with European clubs. He's always he's been in Fabrizio's transfer rumours a couple of times, and it's just not happened. But his work rate is immense. Like, this guy is back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, and he's got that European ethic of just a lot of European players are very fit. And his ability to ping passes, he loves this wee dink pass, a wee scoop pass, and he's always really good at doing that. And he's great, honestly, he's really good at reading play. He's an intelligent player. You can tell he's went through the RB the Red Bull system, and that's why I've picked him for Austria, and I think he will be doing really well at this World Cup. For Jordan, to finish off this group, I went for Musa Al-Tarami. So he's 29, right winger, got 7 goals and 11 assists this season. Honestly, this guy is really good for Stade Rennes, and his ball control is immense. Let's see, his ability to keep the ball at his feet without losing too much control. He's really, really, really fast. His ability to find small gaps when shooting is unbelievable. Obviously, I've got the graphics here for you to see, but honestly, this guy, there was a goal against PSG, he's just shifted and there's 2 defenders very close to him, and he's managed to find a gap and it's went in, and that's why I've picked him. And I think Jordan, their best way of getting maybe out of this group is through attack, and I think he will be very influential to that. So we now move on to possibly Group K. Group K consists of Portugal, Congo, Uzbekistan and Colombia. So, I mean, start with Portugal, Vitinha. I'm sorry, but anybody else, you've got Nuno Mendes, obviously, you've got another couple of defenders coming up at Portugal, a couple of attackers, maybe even Conceição, but Vitinha is honestly majestic. I love this guy. Obviously kind of failed at Wolves, and now he's the best midfielder in the world in my opinion. He's majestic, he's dribbling, his calmness on the ball, his ability to just do a swerve pass and beat like 10 defenders. Just honestly, this guy is by far my favourite. Being 26, he's in his prime, he's got 10 goals and 7 assists this season, so he's been quite impressive for the Portuguese. Well, it's just the Portuguese link in that PSG midfield. He's been so successful, and I think he will bring a lot to the Portuguese team this year. Whether they can go far, there's a lot of discussion about that, but I generally don't know. So for Congo, I've decided to go for Nangali Muka. He's honestly, this guy is really good at age 21. He's plays for Laos. He's got 2 goals this season as well as 0 assists, but that does not matter because he's got really good ball retention. He's able to keep himself on the ball quite a lot. Like, he doesn't lose the ball that much unless he makes a stupid decision, but his pass completion rate is really high, so that's not an issue for him necessarily. He loves a challenge. Like, if you watch this guy, you'll see him tackle at least like 3 or 4 times, even and a half. And his tackle completion rate is very high as well. He's quite a unique player. Obviously, he's young, he's eager, he wants to get in and about it, and I like that about him, and I think that's why he will help Congo do well in this group. Obviously, as much as Colombia are a good team, Congo have a very good chance of catching up the likes of Colombia and possibly Portugal if it's a bad tournament for them. But this guy, it's what I've put in script, is what is he is good at. And yeah, let's move on to Uzbekistan. So for Uzbekistan, we went for Ildar Shmurodov, and he plays for Besiktas in Turkey. This guy's goal scoring record he's a striker, but he can play more calm position, like centre forward. Sorry about that. And he's got 24 goals and 6 assists this season in the Turkish league, which is really, really good. And his ability to exploit space, like, he's so good at finding just wee dart and runs in behind these. Because his leadership, he's the head press, he takes on that responsibility. I've saw it in a couple of clips. He is always on the ball when it comes to his national team. He loves his national team, even for club level. He's really good at initiating the press and helping young players, helping old players, just creating that team in the iron team. There's no iron team, and he'll put others before himself, but he'll put himself before anything, before his country's first. and he's got a bullet header. Honestly, this guy's heading ability is crazy, especially being quite tall. He's quite good at it, and I think he will be a good asset to Uzbekistan, especially when it comes to corners, set pieces, and just when you're playing teams like Portugal and Colombia, you're not going to have much of the ball, so I think he'll be good at kind of doing that kind of stuff. And we finally move on to Colombia. Finish off Group K, we've got Richard Rios from Colombia. CM plays for Benfica, more a CDM. He's a very unique player. He's got 8 goals and 6 assists this season. He's in his prime. His ability, honestly, this guy's ability to find a pass. One I did see was he bet 3 defenders on the edge of his box, was able to find a pass, and the Benfica winger was in behind. He's very good at baiting players into challenges. Honestly, this guy is the definition of a piss-off merchant. The amount of times I've seen this guy just back into something, he's like a John McGinn with John McGinn's arse. Before John McGinn's arse, sorry, and he's just able, he's running power, he's running, and his ability to just read and know when to run, know when not to run, know when to press. He's always quite confident when he's pressing. He's got the fitness levels to be able to have that running power, and I quite like him, and I think he will be a good asset to Colombia. I could have obviously said Diaz, but that moves me swiftly into Group K, the final group. No, Group L. So that moves me to the final group, which is Group L. In Group L, we finally top it off with England, Croatia, Ghana and Panama. So firstly with England, we go Nico O'Reilly. Honestly, this guy, he's just your modern day fullback. And he's the definition. This is probably where the modern day fullback started. Pep obviously brought it in, and a lot of teams now use it. But he has came through the City Academy training like this, and he's done very good at doing that. He's very good with the ball. See, I've saw a couple of clips of him against Arsenal, and he's literally on the touchline. The ball's about to go out. He's kept it in, managed to beat 3 Arsenal players, and started a Manchester City attack. Obviously scored in the League Cup final for City against Arsenal. He's very good at picking up positions, and obviously I think Gervaldo's helped him quite a lot. Being out injured, it's helped him getting in the Man City team. He's obviously been picked to the England squad, and I think I could have easily said Harry Kane because he's arguably the best striker in the world, but I don't think he's not one to watch. He's just, you watch him already, you know what I mean. Nico O'Reilly's he's new in the England setup, and I think he'd do quite well under Tuchel because he's just got that education from Pep, and Tuchel's 2 of the best managers in the world. So we now move on to Croatia. So for Croatia, I think this is quite an easy one, even though I don't think they'll have a good tournament. I've went for Luka Vuskovic. Plays for Spurs, but he's on loan at Hamburg the last couple of seasons. He's 19, he's got 6 goals, 1 assist. This guy is insane with the ball. Honestly, he's got midfielder feel about him when he's on the ball. You could even think he was an attacker if you saw him sometimes. He was in the Bundesliga team of the season. I think this says something. Hamburg's just been promoted, and this guy's came into the team and literally bossed it. He's the reason one of the reasons they've done so well, and he's literally a brick wall. I'm not even joking. This guy is a unit. He'll not, if you're getting past him, you're going down. Honestly, he'll hunt you down. And I think he's so good at doing that. I've seen so many clips of him. The guy's got past him, he's like, hold you, and then slung him. You know what I mean? Just might get a booking, but it's tactical. It's a tactical foul, and we move on to Ghana. For my second last pick, I've chose to go with Abdul Fataba. Obviously, we all know him when he was in the Premier League. Sporting fans will know him when he was at Sporting. he's done. Leicester obviously had a poor season, but that doesn't justify not leaving him out here. You could have went for Semenyo, you could have went for many other players here, but for Ghana, I thought Abdul Fattah was the best decision. He's ambitious as fuck. Honestly, I've seen this guy score for the halfway line. His ambition to take on players like every time he gets the ball is so good. He's so unpredictable when he's dribbling. I know it's so predictable to say that when you're talking about wingers, but honestly, this guy is unpredictable. So many times I've watched them, I'm like, watching clips, I'm like, what do I say about this guy? And I think that tells you everything you need to know. And I think it's obvious that he's fast. I think he was one of the fastest recorded players in the Premier League season when he was in. But it's one of them. He's not. Leicester had a bad time, but he's probably one of the tiny sparks, because it is a really dark time for Leicester City. But we now move on to Panama. Our final pick, we've went for Jose Cordoba, 25-year-old centre back for Norwich City, and 1 goal and 1 assist. I'm not even joking when I say this. This guy is an absolute unit, and he's been so unpredictable in this championship. People have underrated him, but for what I've seen, I don't even watch the championship that much, but this guy is a menace in there. Honestly, this guy, his strength, his stature is so good at shielding off players. He's very good with the ball at his feet, which is very important in modern day games. So I think he might do well against England, for example. He might be the one that might influence a result. But he has so much about him. But you don't normally see big united centre backs doing good with their ball at their feet. So I think he's unique in that kind of sense. But he has so much potential. I think he could possibly leave Norwich. He's so much better than Norwich, but we'll have to see if he gets to leave Norwich after a good World Cup, because I think that's the case with a lot of players I've picked here. They're young, they've got potential. Maybe a good World Cup gets them a move. So let me know what you